Namaskar, Niluji. This appears to be instigating insider trading. One can't say that Donald Trump himself did this insider trading. Then the question arises that this entire tariff drama, was it done for a major stock market manipulation? Because these people are not babes in the wood. They know what the stock market is, how the stock market news reacts to various types of news. He comes out as a big champion of MAGA, of employment, make America great, we have been exploited, all that shedding of crocodile tears and all. So that is another end that he gets. The third hidden agenda is that all those who are his supporters, he has given them a great golden opportunity to make money in that window of 2 hours. Do these people in power think that they are in power because they have far more superior intellect? I mean, if he wanted to assure the market, he could have taken the step 2 months, 2 hours earlier and then informed them on Truth Social or informed them simultaneously. Of course, it is the job of the president to assure the market, and first you come out with policies which will depress and harm the market and harm the economy of the entire world, because the market is a mere reflection of what you are doing through your economic policies.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. A firestorm of scrutiny has erupted over US President Donald Trump's role in Wednesday's dramatic stock market rebound after he posted a pair of bullish messages on the social media just hours before announcing a pause on a sweeping set of tariffs. Now, Trump's posts, one of which urged Americans to buy into the market and included the ticker symbol for his own media company, added roughly about $4 trillion in value. However, it also drew the ire of Democrats, who unanimously raised calls for an insider trading investigation. In fact, if you look at the details which are coming out, Senator Adam Schiff, who's a Democrat from California, he became the first lawmaker to publicly call for an investigation into potential insider trading or market manipulation linked to Trump's remarks and subsequent tariff decision. Now, I'm going to show you a few tweets by Donald Trump, which is being discussed on the social media by everyone. Now, look at the first tweet which Donald Trump put out, and it's there on the screen. He says, "Be cool. Everything is going to work out well. USA will be bigger and better than ever before." Now, this is Donald Trump's, he puts it out on the Truth Social. That's one tweet for you. And then there is another tweet, which I'll just show you now. And that's the second tweet, which he puts out at about 9:33 a.m. And then as soon as the markets open, he says, "This is a great time to buy." Now, that's a tweet from Donald Trump. The market rebound. And just after a few hours, he puts out that decision where he's pausing the tariffs for 90 days. So is there a connection between the insider trading and putting a pause on the tariff regime? Is this a conspiracy which was hatched allegedly by the American president? Will it need an investigation? Who will probe Donald Trump? These are some questions which are plaguing everyone's mind. And how can a country like America get into this? Is it a dangerous precedent which is being set? Joining me this evening now is lawyer and activist Arun Agarwal, who closely follows the American market, American political developments as well. Thank you so much, Arun Agarwal, for joining this evening on HW. And this is indeed a very, very disturbing development where we see that Donald Trump apparently and allegedly, I will use the word, that he seems to have got involved in insider trading, which has benefited so many Americans, and especially the MAGA supporters and all people who are cheering after the posts which are put out. Now, what does it really show prima facie? Is this a clear case of insider trading, sir?
Uh, Namaskar, Niluji. This appears to be instigating insider trading. One can't say that Donald Trump himself did this insider trading. What he does, he is not on X or what was known as Twitter. He is on another social media known as Truth Social, which is followed exclusively by the MAGA and Donald Trump supporters. So a few hours before he was going to abate the tariff by 90 days, he posted on that Twitter handle that, what you said, be cool, this is a great time to buy. Now, all those who know Donald Trump, if he puts a Twitter like that on his social truth media, then they will go ahead and buy, because the markets were anywhere at its lowest. They had slumped by almost $9 trillion post this announcement of tariff on the 3rd of this month, which was to be operationalized from 8th on 9th of April. So hours before that, he was going to stop it for 90 days. So the moment this happened, Elizabeth Warren was on the floor of the Senate, and she was arguing a case against the appointment of Trump's nominee for the chairmanship of Securities Exchange Commission in America. So she said that she pointedly asked and referred to this tweet and quoted the tweet and said all in block letters. So when he wants to emphasize, he puts it all in block letters. So she said that, is it corruption? Is it market manipulation? Who will investigate? So these were the questions she asked. Now the point is this. If somebody wants to investigate, it can be done very easily, because if you take the trading that went on from the time that he tweeted the large trades, and from the time that the policy was of abating these tariffs for 90 days, putting them in abeyance, was announced, there was a gap of about 2 hours. So whatever large trades were done within that 2 hours, if they match with and in fact, Elizabeth Warren went further and she accused his close people and his allies who have funded Trump for his elections to give them a payback time, an opportunity of payback time, that you funded me, here I'm giving you a opportunity to make money. Now, this other thing, if this has happened and it was pre-planned, then the question arises that this entire tariff drama, was it done for a major stock market manipulation? Because these people are not babes in the wood. They know what the stock market is, how the stock market news reacts to various types of news. So one of the most lethal thing that could be for the stock market was imposition of high tariffs on the entire global trade, which would affect all the companies across the board and bring the market thundering down. And this is exactly what happened. And then you play it cool by playing golf while Rome is burning and Nero is playing the fiddle. And then you come back as if, nothing has happened. And suddenly, just before the tariff regimen is going to be implemented, you say, no, I put it in abeyance for 90 days. And that is again this thing, who knows, I'm giving this opportunity for people to negotiate. And then, those who have not opposed, they will benefit. Do not retaliate and you will be rewarded. All these types of things, they are coming out. So it also means that it was a big drama, only to manipulate and get their mega people make money out of it. But then the question, like in India, who will investigate? The man who is in charge over there, who has just one, I mean, it is coincidental that just about, say, 12 hours before, his nomination has been okayed by the Senate by a margin of 52 to 44, with all the 52 votes coming from the Republicans and none from the Democrats. And this man has been confirmed, and he is again a known manipulator, or a known opponent of
You are saying you are
investigation.
casting doubts, Mr. Agarwal. You are casting doubts that at all. I mean, if at all, there will be a fair investigation into this case, even though the senator from California has asked for an investigation. But you doubt that there'll be a fair investigation into it.
No, no, this is exactly what Elizabeth Warren was saying while opposing the appointment of Paul Atkins as the commissioner, the chief commissioner of the Securities Exchange Commission. You see, there every appointment has to be ratified by the Senate. And they have all the records, and these people, unlike our legislatures, they have a very powerful office, back office, which backs them with all the data about any persons whose appointment comes on the floor of the Senate. And there the senator speaks alone. It's not like this thing where all the halla tamasha interruptions, the vice president and the speaker not letting the person speak. All that doesn't happen there. The senator is all alone, and the house is virtually empty. And when it comes to voting, then they assemble and they vote. And they are otherwise watching what is happening from the chambers. So this is exactly the point that she was making, that this is what you have done. So now, of course, the other question is that now that you have appointed a dummy as your Securities Exchange chairman, like Kash Patel and Bondi that we are seeing, who have been appointed to the FBI and the Justice Department. So, what investigation will take place? Kash Patel is there. So he will not investigate. Bondi is there for prosecution. She won't do anything. So see, that whole institutions have been captured in America. Like Mr. Modi has captured our institution, including a good part of the judiciary. You have day before an incident of a former Chief Justice of India plagiarizing an earlier order, which he didn't share with other two judges. So if this is the type of people who are sitting at that, and that same Chief Justice was involved in entering into this so-called memo or agreement with the government on appointment of judges, which was being opposed by the 4 judges, through which the government now has a veto on who's going to be appointed to the Supreme Court.
No, but what I want to understand from you is that why did Donald Trump pause the tariffs on all the nations except China? Now, what is the policy he's trying to adopt? What is the kind of message he is sending? Of course, it looks, we do not know 100% whether it is insider trading. He's done it deliberately. But exempting China, what is the message he sent out?
No, you see, there is a case in America that China has grown too big and is seen as a potential threat to the future prosperity and the global dominance of America. So, and China has prospered at America's expense. The phenomenal growth that took place after Kissinger visited China and their growth. So a good part of it came by cheap exports to America, and it served both their interest, though it may have been in their mutual trading interest. It was definitely not in the global or imperialistic or that interest of that, because China was growing at a phenomenal rate, which America was not, and now it is catching up with that gap. So it is seen as a threat. More so in the technology, the lead that America had, it is not able to maintain, because a lot of technological theft takes place in America, for which the Chinese citizens who have migrated there are also a major suspect, apart from the embassy and all types of other this thing that goes on, and cyber security breach and all that. So even that technological gap that America had is not all that large. And you will see in any field, they have their own Facebook, they have their own Amazon, they have their own social networking media that is there. So there is a case for less of trade by America with China. But the problem is that there is a lot of supply chain which has already been built. The number two most important person, Musk, has got a huge interest in his Tesla cars in China. The parts are being supplied. There is a assembly line over there. He set up a factory. So all those are, of course, contradictory things. But as far as the rest of the world is concerned, this was almost like a self goal, a suicide, that Mr. Trump was this thing, not understanding that there will be a trade deficit if your country is consuming far more than other countries, because there are a lot of places where labor is much more expensive, and now labor there you are paying 1,000 rupees at least minimum per hour, whereas in other countries you are paying, the maximum you are paying is 1,000 rupees
I'm
per
wondering,
day.
Mr. Agarwal, if this link between the insider trading and pausing of the tariffs can be proved at all. And many people on the social media and who are following American politics are saying that this was a deliberately manufactured chaos by Donald Trump. And he tried to create a chaos, and then ultimately he's trying to show that as if he's won a big battle. Does the situation look like that?
No. You see, everything has got, 2, 3 outcomes, and all favorable. I mean, at one end, he is seen as a great champion of having prevented a debacle on the stock exchange. So he comes out as a big savior. At one end, when he's imposing the tariff, he comes out as a big champion of MAGA, of employment, make America great, we have been exploited, all that shedding of crocodile tears and all. So that is another end that he does. The third hidden agenda is that all those who are his supporters, he has given them a great golden opportunity to make money in that window of 2 hours. Now your question is that can it be detected? Of course it can be detected. If you just take the trades between the time that it was posted on Truth Social and the time when it was officially announced that the imposition of this tariff is kept in abeyance for 90 days. Between that, whatever major or big trades have taken their place, you just find out who are the people who have traded in it. So was it accidental? I mean, definitely only those who would have traded, who are on the same platform as Truth Social, where Trump puts his this thing outpourings or wants them in advance. The fact that he gave a big hint. See, what is needed to prove insider trading? You had some privileged information. That information was communicated to somebody who was close to you. The person who was close to you, in this case, it won't be blood relations, but it will be his political supporters. They traded in that on that information, and then they made money. What happens that 2 hours later, you are actually putting that policy into place by which you had said that stay cool, great opportunity to buy. So anybody can put
something very similar, something very similar, which we saw in India, Prime Minister Modi, exhorting the people that
but there is a big difference. Today, if you see the Godi media, that Mint, Hindustan Times, there are India Today, all these people are saying insider trading Trump, whereas the American media is not fascinated, because either they are quite accustomed to Trump and that they know that it is there, but you don't find the same type of coverage or same type of outrage that is there in the Indian media on Trump doing insider trading, but you don't find that outrage when Modi and Shah do the insider trading and Rahul Gandhi reveals it, or when Reliance did that insider trading in RPL shares in 207.8, which was revealed by Amar Singh. That outrage is not there. So
Absolutely.
what do you make of this media? I mean, today you find everybody is playing. I mean, I was quite surprised when you asked me. I just went on the news, this thing, and I found that a lot of Indian media is playing it up, whereas I didn't find anything similar in either New York Times or Washington Post. So that in itself speaks volumes about how our Indian media functions.
No, but does it show that Trump has conspired in any way, treating tariffs as an alibi, but his real intentions seem to be like, doing some kind of an insider trading, benefiting some of his favorite people? Does it look like a conspiracy at all?
No. The fact remains that there is no other person in America who has broken so many laws and got away with it. Now, I don't want to get into the grisly details that how many charges of felon and rape and this and that have been leveled. And he has got away with everything. So does he need to respect the law? He treats law with contempt. He cares a hoot, including having secreted all the documents while he was president in his residence in Florida. And after he became president, all those boxes were returned to him, which were the top secret boxes. So this is the type of, flawed democracy. I mean, one good thing has happened is that Trump has exposed all the institutions and how flawed American democracy is, in spite of checks and balances placed on it for the past 200 years. Just like Mr. Modi over here has shown that, I mean, who could imagine that he could capture the ECI, the judiciary, the legislature through the speakers, and the investigative agencies? And that's all that it takes to be a dictator in this country, which he is.
What kind of a precedent has Donald Trump set today, if at all there is a truth, even an iota of truth in what has happened, as far as linking of the insider trading and the tariff regime is concerned? What kind of a dangerous precedent is this? And what is the learning lesson for other nations of the world?
Well, it is something which only Donald Trump would do. Any man sitting in high office is expected to have morals and is expected to act within a boundary which is not seen by others as improper.
But similar questions were raised of Prime Minister Narendra Modi also when he exhorted the investors. And
see, there is a parallel between the two. And this is a parallel that will always be there between people who don't care for the law or who are seen as semi-dictators and who grab power. It will be seen like that.
No, but coming as it does, from an American precedent where the institutions are quite sanctified, nobody ever could have imagined that, there could be a thing like this ever happening. Does this come as a surprise that an American president, if at all allegedly he's indulging in a thing like this?
People are not surprised with, as far as Mr. Trump is concerned, he gets away with everything. And his mega supporters are there to support him through thick and thin, no matter how grave the allegations are. Be it whatever type of allegation, he has braved them all. So to that extent, he is a very peculiar phenomena which even now people are grappling to explain, that how could a man of this nature be so popular? Probably they see in him a strong man who can teach those who are, the liberals and all a lesson, or the element, the racist element, the white supremacy. He appeals to them, and all that. Suddenly a coalition is formed, and they win the elections. So that is happening in India, and that is happening in other countries also. The right-wing people, but as far as Trump is concerned, people have no expectations that he will respect. I mean, imagine picking up people from the streets who are entitled to protection of the Constitution, and then you send them to, Venezuela, and what is the other country where he has sent these people, where the cases are taking place, to dictatorial concentration camp type of countries. So what
No,
can
but
you do about this?
yeah, no, that's true. But while Donald Trump, was watching all this, the markets were rebounding, and one also saw that Trump's media company, it had outpaced all the major indices, closing up like 22.67%, and the rally added about 415 million US dollars in value to Trump's.
Billion, not million.
Yeah, no,
After million, there is billion, and after billion, there is trillion.
yeah. So Trump's 53% ownership stake in the company, that the value has gone up, and that trust is managed by Donald Trump's own son. So what does it show? That did he do it for his own personal benefit? And of course, in the course of that, he also benefited many of his supporters, so that nobody raises questions on him.
You see, in fact, somewhere I have the figure. Tesla also went up by 22%.
Yeah,
Nvidia went up by 19%. The S&P went up by 9.5%. Dow Jones by 7.9%. Nasdaq by 12.2%. So these people are the creatures of the stock market.
Tesla, you were mentioning about Tesla. Tesla actually outperformed Trump's media company.
Yes, that's the very close, 22% something. In decimals, they must have outperformed. But then the market cap of Tesla is much larger. So can you imagine that a person's wealth in one day, suddenly increases by almost a 1/4, whereas in America, you get interest rate of 3%, 4% for an entire year. So, that's the type of money these people are making on the stock market. So why will he not do it? And is he ashamed? Of course not. In fact, he has an agreement with his company, or managed by his son or whatever, that all his tweets will come over there. So if you want information in advance, you better subscribe to Truth Social, so that you can trade in the next one opportunity gone. But then there'll be other opportunities which will come your way every 3 months. So the value of social truth will go up.
Yeah, but I'm also surprised with the kind of response which has come from the White House. People were asking, so White House didn't clarify the exact timing and all of the post, what he had written, but there's a spokesperson called Kush Desai who has defended President's market comments as part of his role. And I'm going to quote what exactly he said. It's written that it is the responsibility of the President of the United States to reassure the markets and Americans about their economic security in the face of non-stop media fear mongering. This is what the White House spokesperson Kush Desai has told the Time magazine. Now, what would you say to this kind of a response coming from White House?
I'm sorry for being very petty, but I cannot help but think about the Desai and Kash Patel coming from a particular territory whose model we have adopted here for development. So is Donald Trump also choosing people from Gujarat to, strengthen his model of development over there? What type of excuse and what type of, do these people in power think that they are in power because they have far more superior intellect? If he wanted to assure the market, he could have taken the step 2 hours earlier and then informed them on Truth Social, or inform them simultaneously. Of course, it is the job of the president to assure the market, and first you come out with policies which will depress and harm the market and harm the economy of the entire world, because the market is a mere reflection of what you are doing through your economic policies. Then when the market has fallen, and where the bond market is now falling because of your policy, and you can't take it, because if people start demanding their money and the American bond market is not seen as a safe haven after gold, then all hell will break loose, because the borrowing of America is through that market, and that is more than their GDP. So you have, you have virtually come to the brink before you have taken your policy back. If I were the president, I would wonder that when will you take it back? We are just at the brink. So then he does it, and then this Mr. Desai comes up with this silly excuse. Nobody is buying it. All he has to do, I would like to see if he has put that, at what time he put his, for lack of better word, tweet on social media. Right. And what time did he announce the policy? So let us see what is the gap. And then let the people decide, and whether this new person who has come in there as Paul Atkins, whether he is willing to investigate. So, the best thing is that you bring out the data in public.
Right. So one last question, Mr. Agarwal, before I wind up the interview, that of course, I don't know whether the uncertainty has been paused while the tariffs have been paused, but is the world heading towards more uncertainty? This is for 90 days. What will happen after 90 days? Will there be more uncertainty? Because you cannot have faith on what Donald Trump is going to do after 90 days, even though the tariff has been paused.
And that's a very serious question, because you see, people will not suppose, the dilemma is this, that I believe that Trump will go through the tariff, and I set up a factory, setting up a factory in USA. It will take me at least 2 years or 3 years to set up that factory, to substitute something which was being imported from a foreign country and on which tariffs have been placed. So now a production in America makes it cheaper. But by the time I produce, again you reverse your policy. So when you are living in a period where the policies are frequently changing within a short span of time, then there is complete chaos which is reigning into the market. There is no certainty on what risk-taking capacity is all linked to all these policies. So I have the data that I have today on which I am taking a risk, a money risk, by going into a particular production line, will change within a short time, and I'll incur a huge loss. So the damage that he has done by frequently going back and forth on what he decides and not remaining firm and stable is actually destroying the market all over the world, because they don't know what this man will do. It's like which side of the bed does he get out from, that what policy he will determine. And in fact, in America, there is a big joke going that only his wife can save Americans from Donald Trump. But that is another story.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll have to end it here, and we'll have to wait and watch how things unfold in America and what happens with this investigation, if at all it is initiated at the congressional level or otherwise, on the part of any institution. But there are speculations on some kind of an insider trading and how it's been linked up with the tariff, which has been paused for 90 days. Will the world head into more uncertainty? Well, the jury's out on that. Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal, for joining on HW this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.